Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Great Voyage, don't disturb Laozi's immortal cultivation in this chaotic era of pirates. Li Xiao, who is equipped with a cultivation clock in system, has only one idea. To cultivate immortality and seek immortality. As long as you don't disturb me to cultivate immortality, regardless of whether you are the fourth emperor or a general, do whatever you love. What? Are you trying to block my way? Li had no choice but to reluctantly wield his sword and kill you. Li Xiao's head was adorned with a purple and golden Linglong Pagoda, and he held a green frost sword. With a slight smile, he said. Is that special? Your name is Kaido, right? Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. At the beginning of Chapter 1, except for the dog, all equipment is available. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. With a mournful scream, a wild boar half a person tall collapsed with a loud crash. After a few convulsions, there was no movement at all. Li Xiao put away his spiritual sword in his hand, dragging the body of a wild boar all the way to the seaside, skilled in picking up firewood to start a fire, then use a thicker wooden stick. I added a millennium kill to the already dead and transparent wild boar, and put it on the fire. Today, simply have a roasted whole pig. Under the scorching flames, the air appears somewhat distorted, the golden oil slowly drips down, gradually emitting a tempting aroma of meat. Li Xiao turned his head to look at the endless sea, his eyes momentarily blurred. Unconsciously, it has been a month since he arrived on this small island. A month ago, Li Xiao is still just one of the thousands of sand sculpture netizens in Blue Star Dragon Country. I like to read online articles when I have nothing to do on weekdays. As a senior bookworm with over 10 years of experience, my appetite has long been spoiled. The shortage of books is a common occurrence. One night, Li Xiao finally found a good book with both content quality and update speed. Great Voyage, don't disturb Laozi's cultivation of immortals. So I couldn't help but hide under the covers and stay up late to watch. Looking at it, I felt like my eyes were black and I fainted. When he wakes up again, it has already appeared on this uninhabited island. Obviously, he has traveled. For this point, Li Xiao didn't have much reaction. After all, it's already the 21st century, time travel, it's not a rare thing. But the key is, this way of traveling is a bit excessive, isn't it? Even if you let me go out and get hit by a car, it's okay. Staying up late reading a novel and suddenly dying. I almost wrote the 3 big characters, weak body, on my forehead. Don't let me catch you, the author, otherwise, hammer your dog's head. As the saying goes, when crossing blue stars, the system is not lacking. Traveling with Li Xiao, there is also a cultivation clock in system. A very minimalist name, just like its function. Li Xiao can clock in at different locations. You can only clock in once a day. Depending on the check.in location, the rewards also vary. The more special the location, the better the reward for checking in. But the same location can only receive one check.in reward. Cannot clock in repeatedly. In addition, most of the rewards obtained by clocking in are related to cultivating immortals. At the first moment of obtaining the system, Li Xiao immediately chose to clock in. However, the isolated island he was on was quite ordinary, therefore, the clock-in rewards are also average. I only gave a few pills that help with cultivation. Fortunately, the system has thoughtfully prepared a beginner gift package for oneself. Compared to the meager rewards obtained by checking in, the beginner's gift package is much richer. Skills, treasures, and elixirs, everything is ready. It can be said that at the beginning, except for the dog, all the equipment is available. The only place that made Li Xiao feel extremely embarrassed was this crossing point. Where is not good to go. Unfortunately, I have come to such a deserted island with no human habitation. Surrounded by an endless sea, I can't even see a single person. If it weren't for the fact that there are still some flora and fauna on this island, Li Xiao may have become the first starving traveler in history. In fact, until now, Li Xiao didn't even know what kind of world he had traveled to. But over the past month, Li Xiao has never been idle. Apart from eating, drinking, and urinating, all the time is devoted to cultivation. As a native dragon person, cultivating immortality is almost a desire engraved in DNA. Li Xiao, who had traveled through time, hardly felt any sense of confusion. After clarifying the system functions, I quickly established my goal. To cultivate immortality and seek longevity. Don't stop me, no one. I, Li, only want to cultivate immortality and seek immortality. Whoever disturbs me in cultivating immortality, I will be in a hurry with anyone. Name. Li Xiao Cultivation. Refining essence and transforming qi, later stage, technique. Purple cloud transformation halal technique divine spell. None magic weapon. Green frost sword item. None according to Li Xiao's understanding, the four realms of cultivating immortals, from low to high, are refining essence and transforming qi and transforming spirit and returning emptiness, and refining emptiness and combining the Tao. And with a month of hard work, Li Xiao, with the blessing of the pill, the cultivation has already broken through to the later stage of refining essence and transforming qi. Due to lack of reference, Li Xiao also doesn't know how this cultivation is in this world. But according to Li Xiao's experiment, at present, he can press all the wild beasts on the island and rub them against the ground. How was the experiment conducted? This is not simple yet, of course, I'll give it all a beating. Upon reflection, the roasted pork is already cooked, emitting waves of tempting fragrance. Li Xiao cut a piece with the Qingxuang sword, just about to put it in my mouth, but suddenly, he was taken aback. Just now, the corner of his eye seemed to see something appearing on the sea surface. It seems that a ship. What about the agreed cultivation world in Chapter 2? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Xiao quickly turned his head and looked over. After seeing it clearly, a surprised expression couldn't help but appear on his face. I saw it on the sea not far away. A large sailboat is speeding towards this isolated island. Hey! Not right. Not one ship, it's two ships. In front of that large sailboat, there is also a rather mini boat, but compared to others, it looks very inconspicuous. Therefore, Li Xiao did not notice it at the first time. According to Li Xiao's observation, at present, it seems that the large sailboat is chasing the small boat ahead. Occasionally, there are even shells being fired out, falling around the small boat. The waves stirred up caused the small boat to shake in waves. Wait. Cannon shells. Is this the technology tree that the cultivation world should point out? At Li Xiao's stunned moment, two ships are gradually approaching the island. This distance, it's already enough for Li Xiao to see the people on the ship clearly. However, at the moment when Li Xiao saw a certain figure on the small boat, I'm completely confused. Long orange hair, a slender figure, tattoos on the shoulders. Isn't this stomping horse Nami? Li Xiao shifted his gaze back to the large sailboat behind him. Take a closer look. As expected, what floats on the mast is clearly a pirate flag with a skull painted on it. This is a pirate ship. At this moment, Li Xiao finally understood. No wonder the surrounding sea is endless. This is the world of pirates. Oh my God. I was clearly given the cultivation and clock-in system. Why did you run into the world of pirates? What about the agreed cultivation world? Leaving the big picture. Dog author. Li Xiao silently stuffed a mouthful of steaming wild boar meat into his mouth, thinking about eating meat to suppress surprise. Then he turned his head and watched as the two ships, big and small, were getting closer and closer to him. Anyway, the appearance of these two ships is a good thing for Li Xiao. This represents that he can finally leave this isolated island. At the same time, it also represents, Li Xiao can go to other places to check in and receive rewards in the future, and then cultivation of immortals. Seeking longevity. No matter what world you are in, there is a system in place, as long as you leave this deserted island, that is to let birds fly when the sky is high, and fish leap when the sea is wide. At this moment, he took a small step towards reality, but it's a big step on the trajectory of life. Thinking of this, the silence just now has been forgotten, the corner of Li Xiao's mouth involuntarily raised slightly. After a moment, 1 second before being chased by the pirate ship behind, the small boat piloted by Nami rushed ashore directly. After rolling around a few times, he landed next to Li Xiao. Next, that pirate ship also docked on the shore. A group of pirates holding swords shouted and rushed down. The first person is a strong man, full of horizontal flesh, a tuft of red hair on top of my head, holding a huge wolf tooth stick. I saw him fiercely smash his wolf tooth stick onto the ground. With a grim smile, he said. "Run. Run again. I see where else you can go. You dare to steal anything from my shark pirate group. Hurry up and hand over the things honestly, maybe we can even consider saving your life." As soon as the words fell, Li Xiao hasn't reacted yet. I felt my arms suddenly surrounded by a soft patch, then I heard a voice coming from my ear. "Brother, I finally found you. It's them bullying me and trying to grab my things, chasing me all the way. Whoa whoa whoa." Li Xiao instinctively turned his head and looked over. I saw Nami holding her arm and looking at me with tears in her eyes, a pitiful appearance. What? Aren't I wearing it? Is the original body still in a sibling relationship with Nami? No, it's not right. I remember Nami never had a brother at all. Thinking of this, Li Xiao suddenly reacted. There's a damn sibling relationship. This is clearly stealing someone else's belongings. I feel like pulling myself into the water because it's hard to escape. Well, this really seems like something Nami can do. At this point, upon hearing Nami's words, the members of the shark pirate squad all turned their gaze to Li Xiao on the side. The strong man lifted the wolf tooth stick in his handle, shouting to Li Xiao. "Oh! Are you the thief's brother? No wonder she's running towards this island where birds don't poop. It turns out you're already here to pick her up. Since you insist on protecting her, I'll have to kill you first." After speaking, he waved his hand slightly. The pirates behind them headed towards Li Xiao, ready to take action. Seeing the situation, Li Xiao couldn't help but rub the center of his eyebrows, a face full of helplessness. No, how did it become that I had to protect her? I haven't even said a word from beginning to end, okay? Can you respect the opinions of the parties involved? Sai is the first group of people I met after arriving in the world of pirates. Surprisingly, they are all silly people with long brains purely for the sake of height. This is very unlucky. Chapter 3. Don't sail on Laozi's boat. Third request. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Meanwhile, seeing both sides about to move, Nami silently let go of Li Xiao's arm, carefully start moving backwards, prepared to take advantage of this opportunity and slip away. However, just as she was about to get up and quietly leave, one hand suddenly grabbed her arm, pulled her back. Nami instinctively looked up. I saw Li Xiao looking at her with a smile on his face, opening the mouth. "My dear sister, with an older brother around, why are you running?" Upon hearing this, Nami couldn't help but stiffen her face, subconsciously exerting force to pull out the hand, but I found that my hand seemed to be clamped in iron pliers. No matter how hard she tries, she can't break free at all. "It's over, I can't slip away now." Nami had a mournful expression on her face. He forced out a smile and said. No, my legs are numb, move around." Li Xiao gave her a deep glance. I didn't say anything more. Turning to look on the other side, I saw several pirates holding machetes rushing towards me in the first place. Seeing the situation, Li Xiao not only showed no signs of fear, on the contrary, I am a bit eager to try. After realizing that he was in a world of pirates, Li Xiao is even more eager to understand what level his current cultivation level is in the world of pirates. Since I met Nami here, that means you should be in the East China Sea right now. And the strong man Li Xiao in front of him had no impression at all. As for the shark pirate group he mentioned, he has never heard of it. It is estimated that it is a minor character that has not appeared in the original work. As a group of non-invading pirates from the East China Sea, even the strong captain estimated that the bounty would only be a few million. The threat is quite small, very suitable to become Li Xiao's first combat power measurement unit. Speaking slowly and quickly, these ideas just flashed through Li Xiao's mind. At this point, those pirates have already rushed to the front, the blade is within reach. Li Xiao's face remained unchanged, the spiritual power within the body operates. Hold the green frost sword and wave your hand. A light blue sword aura emerged, head straight for a few pirates. At such close range, several pirates didn't even have time to react. The sword energy has already cut off the long sword in hand, splashing blood in front of their ferocity, then the whole person flew backwards out. Seeing the situation, Captain Zhuang was taken aback for a moment. Immediately, he angrily said, "A bunch of trash. Kid, if you have 2 talents, let me personally take you on the road." After speaking, he let out a roar, picking up the wolf tooth stick in his hand, he threw it heavily at Li Xiao. Li Xiao's eyes lit up with a brilliant light. With a left hand on the ground, he stood up, faced with this fierce blow. Without any intention of dodging, he lifted his sword and went straight ahead. Soldiers and spears are in contact. There is no imagined balance of power. The seemingly sturdy wolf tooth stick was directly cut off by the green frost sword like cutting tofu. Subsequently, the green frost sword did not diminish its momentum, head straight towards the neck of the strong captain. Next second, as blood sprayed out, the heavy body of the strong captain collapsed with a loud crash. Seeing this scene, Namaton sitting behind Li Xiao was stunned. The members of the shark pirate squad are also confused. Even Li Xiao himself was confused. That's it. Are you ready to receive the boxed lunch now? No, it's not, I just casually tied a, you lost your fucking life. It looks big and thick, you didn't put on any pretense. Li Xiao slowly withdrew his sword, quietly rubbing the center of my eyebrows. I feel quite distressed. It's over, I made a mistake. This unlucky thing is really a bit weak. It can't even serve as a unit for measuring combat effectiveness. At Li Xiao's stunned moment, the remaining pirates of the shark pirate squad have scattered with a loud roar. Surprisingly, they rushed towards the pirate ship at sea in unison. Judging from this posture, we need to run on the spot. Seeing the situation, Li Xiao suddenly became anxious. Holy crap, you run back and forth on horseback, don't take my boat. With Nami's small boat, you may not be able to safely leave here with him. Therefore, from the beginning, Li Xiao has already set his sights on this pirate ship belonging to the shark pirate squad. You can ignore the rest, but this ship must not be lost. His plan to cultivate immortality and seek immortality must start from this ship. Moving my boat is blocking my way. Li Xiao's spiritual power operates. Give it a hard kick under your feet, the whole person instantly rose into the air. After passing a long arc in the air, it landed directly on the bow of the pirate ship. Li Xiao raised the green frost sword in his hand, which was still dripping with blood, slaying a pirate who had previously intended to take action against him with one swift sword, Cold Channel. This ship belongs to me now, understand? Are you jumping down on your own, or will I help you down? Upon hearing this, the group of shark pirates looked at each other. The pirate, who had just climbed halfway, silently released his hands, allow oneself to fall freely into the sea, and the pirates on board coincidentally arrived at the edge of the deck. Then he leapt forward, falling into the sea with a perfect diving posture. Chapter 4. Mental Loss Fees, Fourth Request for Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Some of these pirates immediately headed upstream towards the isolated island after falling into the water, running straight towards the depths of the island. I wish I could be as far away from Li Xiao as possible. And the other part, even stayed in the sea, dare not come ashore for a long time, afraid of being easily slaughtered by Li Xiao. Keep the ship safe, Li Xiao finally breathed a sigh of relief. Looking around, I saw Nami looking at him with a stunned expression on her face. Unexpectedly, I haven't regained my senses yet. In fact, the reason why she docked on this isolated island, the reason is very simple. Nami is very clear in her heart, with her small boat, it's impossible to escape the pursuit of the shark pirates. Being caught up is just a matter of time, therefore, in desperation, he can only choose a nearby isolated island to dock, attempting to take advantage of the isolated island for a while, then take the opportunity to escape. However, when she was docked, she unexpectedly discovered Li Xiao living alone on this isolated island, and it can hunt wild boars that are half human tall. Nami quickly analyzed the strength level of the person in front of her through existing conditions. Even if defeated by the shark pirates, I believe there should be no problem with self-protection. That's why she deliberately dragged it down. I want him to buy some time for his escape. Everything ahead is progressing smoothly, however, what she didn't expect was that, just as he was secretly fleeing, he was caught and brought back. What surprised her even more was that, the strength of this person in front of her far exceeds her imagination. He didn't even play a role in maneuvering, but it was a sword that killed the captain of the shark pirates. This for a while, Nami couldn't quite distinguish whether she was out of danger or not. If you say it doesn't count, the shark pirates have disbanded on the spot. It's up to you to decide. She always feels like she's out of a tiger's den and into a wolf's den. At Nami's stunned moment, Li Xiao has already returned from the pirate ship. He slowly sat down next to Nami and stuffed a piece of wild boar meat into his mouth. Turning to Nami, he smiled and said, "I don't remember the thief cat Nami being my sister." Upon hearing this, Nami was slightly taken aback, even if the reaction came back. "Do you know me?" "I've heard a little about it, but none of this is important. We need to talk about something else now." After speaking, before Nami could react, Li Xiao continued. "We have no grudges, we don't know each other, but you want to drag me down and let me face a group of brutal pirates. Although I managed to kill them by chance in the end, it caused me great psychological trauma and frightened my young soul. So, in summary, I'm asking you for some mental damages. Isn't that excessive?" As soon as these words are spoken, Nami's mouth couldn't help but twitch. Cruelty, lucky psychological trauma, a young soul. When you say these few words, are you still not touching your own conscience? If it weren't for witnessing with your own eyes that you killed the captain of the shark pirates with one sword, if you also stole someone else's pirate ship, by the way, maybe I really believe it. However, when it comes to money, Nami immediately put on a pitiful look, hugging Li Xiao's arm again. "Oh my, they don't have any money," he whispered. "Do you think I'm a fool? You clearly stole the treasure of the shark pirates group before being chased all the way here. Although the captain of the shark pirates group has left peacefully, you can't ignore what they just said, can you?" Upon hearing this, Nami's movement suddenly froze. Immediately, he continued to deny, "I really don't have money, and I don't know why they caught me. They must have caught the wrong person. We are just a pitiful and poor ordinary girl passing by. Believe it or not, look at me. I don't have any money on me." Speaking, Nami even stood up and spun around. "I took out all the pockets on my body that could hold money, signal that you really haven't lied." Regarding this, Li Xiao is absolutely untrustworthy. If Nami really has the heart to hide the treasure, that's really hard for ordinary people to find. And Li Xiao is no exception. So, he chose another more concise and efficient method. Li Xiao nodded thoughtfully and spoke. "As far as I know, this isolated island is very remote, and I can't see anyone for 10.5 days. What would happen if I set sail and you stayed with them on this island?" Speaking, Li Xiao pointed to the members of the scattered shark pirate group. Upon hearing this, Nami's face suddenly changed. If Li Xiao really leaves alone and leaves her here, whether it's out of resentment towards oneself, still out of greed for something like that, these members of the shark pirate group will not hesitate to take action against themselves. The words of 3 or 5 people are not to be feared, the key is, all the living members of the Shark Pirates are here. Chapter 5. This is my bottom line. Fifth request. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Silence lasted for a long time. Nami seemed to have made a great decision, finally speaking up. I can pay you for mental damages, but you have to take me away. Seeing Li Xiao nod, Nami let out a long sigh, reluctantly pulling out something from the front of the murder. Seeing this, Li Xiao couldn't help but be surprised. On the one hand, she was surprised by the location where Nami hid things well, this is very beautiful. On the other hand, she was surprised by what Nami had brought out. That is a fruit with spiral patterns on its surface, it's the devil's fruit. Devil fruit, known as the treasure of the sea, as a significant component of the pirate world's combat power system, every demon fruit is a priceless treasure. Even the most common animal demon fruit, the market price is at least over 100 million belials. Li Xiao originally thought that Nami had just stolen the treasure accumulated by the shark pirates. I didn't expect it, this little thief cat actually stole a demon fruit directly. Good guy, no wonder he was chased by others all the way. Judging by the strength of this pirate group, this demonic fruit was either obtained by chance, either it was bought with countless years of savings and money, most likely it was the strong captain of the shark pirates who prepared it for himself. The result was stolen before I could even eat it, who is not in a hurry. Unfortunately, the appearance of this demon fruit is not within Li Xiao's familiar range. At present, there is no devil's fruit guide to compare, therefore, Li Xiao also didn't know what the demon fruit in his hand was. For the devil fruit, Li Xiao is still quite curious. Even an ordinary person, as long as you eat the devil's fruit, you can quickly form combat power, if it is a natural species or a rare mythical beast. Moreover, one can leap into the ranks of the strong with the help of their fruit abilities, at least in most cases within the 4 seas, it is enough to run rampant. It can be said that it is the easiest and quickest among several combat systems in the world of pirates. But Li Xiao was just curious, if there are no side effects, perhaps he could also consider it, a normal demon fruit. He is completely disdainful. Equipped with a cultivation clock-in system, in Li Xiao's eyes, cultivating immortality and seeking longevity is where one's path lies. After looking around, Li Xiao casually placed the devil fruit aside, then he continued to cook. Life is alive, only cultivating immortality and delicious food cannot be let down. Not to mention anything else in the world of pirates, the meat quality of this wild beast is really good, even without seasoning, it's incredibly fragrant. In comparison, at this moment, Nami's face was disheartened and listless, sitting on the ground with hands wrapped around knees, staring blankly at the demonic fruit on the side. It's as if my soul has been taken away. Regarding this, Li Xiao didn't say much either, just silently cooking. After a moment, eat and drink enough, Li Xiao stood up and picked up the devil fruit, then walked towards the pirate ship. Seeing the situation, Nami quickly caught up, his gaze closely followed the demon fruit in Li Xiao's hand. On deck, Li Xiao and Nami stood in opposition, looking at each other, big eyes, small eyes. After a long silence, Li Xiao just spoke up and said, "What are you waiting for? Let's go sail." Upon hearing this, Nami suddenly widened her eyes, immediately asked in reverse, "Why should I go sailing? There are only the 2 of us on this ship. If you don't go, should I go? But I gave you the devil's fruit. That's just letting you board the ship, doesn't mean I'm going to sail for you. Besides, I don't know how to sail." In the end, Nami ran off to set sail in anger. After a moment, the ship set sail. Li Xiao found a lounge chair from the cabin and moved it onto the deck, just lie down in the sea breeze, feeling the wet and salty taste in the sea breeze, feeling quite joyful. Finally leaving that deserted island without a trace of people. Next, he will be greeted by the starry sea. Li Xiao can't even wait to clock in for the next time. Traveling for a full month, I just checked in once on horseback, still this kind of shabby place, I'm really holding back. After the navigation stabilizes, Nami just returned to the deck, standing next to Li Xiao, looking at him with a gloomy expression on his face, like a frustrated little daughter. Lol. Oh, you're back. Take advantage of your free time now, come on, pinch my shoulders and relax. Upon hearing this, Namaton suddenly exploded, roaring at Li Xiao. Don't go too far. Setting sail for you is already my bottom line. I was just thinking about whether to return the devil's fruit to you after getting off the ship. So it seems. Before he could finish speaking, a pair of soft and delicate hands had already landed on Li Xiao's shoulders. The bottom line can also fluctuate. Chapter 6. This is what clocking in is. The sixth request is for fresh flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. One day later, Li Xiao stood at the bow of the boat, looking out. I saw it not far ahead, a piece of land is getting closer and closer. After a day, the two finally arrived at the destination of their trip, that's Nami's hometown. Cachexia village. Li Xiao turned his head and looked behind him. I saw Nami holding the demonic fruit and giggling foolishly, her face was filled with visible happiness. Seeing the approaching arrival of Cachexia village, Li Xiao ultimately returned the demonic fruit to her. On the one hand, it is indeed thanks to her own ability to successfully leave the island, after a day of sailing, arrived safely in the village of Cachexia. On the other hand, Li Xiao really doesn't have any ideas about devil fruit. From the appearance, this demon fruit is not one of the powerful and special fruits in the original work, most likely it's just an ordinary animal or Superman. At present, I don't have suitable storage methods, it's too troublesome to carry this thing. So he gave it back to Nami. Don't look, it's about to dock. Hurry up and take the helm. Oh, I got it. After a moment, the ship docked. Two people jumped off the ship one after another. At this point, Nami has once again regained her empty-handed state, the devil fruit has disappeared without a trace. I think it was hidden back in its old place. However, at this moment, Li Xiao had no intention of thinking about anything else. At the moment of stepping onto the village of Cachexia, he immediately chose to clock in. Ding, congratulations on the host's successful check.in. Ding, congratulations to the host for receiving the reward of mountain and sea swordsmanship. Ding, congratulations to the host for receiving the reward of gathering spirit pill. *3 Ding, congratulations to the host for receiving the reward purple gold Linglong Pagoda. Look. This is called clocking in. What were the things I checked in on that isolated island before? Just rewarded a few spirit gathering pills, the beggar is passing the meal. Li Xiao even thought he had received a script on hell difficulty at one point. Until now, he finally calmed down. It seems that the script was taken correctly, it should be a simple difficulty without a doubt. Li Xiao regained his senses. Focus on the rewards you receive. Firstly, there are 3 spirit gathering pills. There's nothing to say about this. There are rewards in Li Xiao's first check.in and the newbie gift package. After taking it, you can improve your cultivation speed. The effect of each pill can last for 3 hours. The rewards that really caught Li Xiao's attention were 2 other things, mountain and sea swordsmanship and purple gold Linglong Pagoda. Shanghai swordsmanship belongs to the realm of divine magic. It is an excellent swordsmanship. Each move has the power of mountains and seas, great opening and closing, unparalleled power, suppress everything. For Li Xiao, this swordsmanship comes at the right time. Although Li Xiao now has the cultivation of refining essence and transforming qi in the later stage, but in reality, it's just an empty cultivation, lack of a means of attack and attack. And Shanghai swordsmanship is a highly aggressive swordsmanship, the focus is on direct confrontation. It can just make up for Li Xiao's weakness, although there was no improvement in cultivation, but it greatly increased its combat power. Moreover, Shanghai swordsmanship is a reward obtained by checking in, no need for Li Xiao to self-comprehend, the system will help him instantly master this swordsmanship. In addition, another reward. The purple gold Linglong Pagoda, it surprised Li Xiao even more. This is actually a magic weapon, and it's also an excellent defense weapon. Although the specific power still needs to be tested, but according to the information provided by the system, as long as there is not much difference in strength, sacrificing the purple gold Linglong Pagoda is enough to make oneself invincible. Li Xiao's positioning of his own strength is not very clear now. In this case, the value of an excellent defense method is much higher than that of an attack method. Overall, Shanghai swordsmanship and purple gold Linglong Pagoda, 1 attack, 1 defense, greatly improved Li Xiao's combat tactics. My strength has more than doubled. Meanwhile, just as Li Xiao was deeply immersed in the clock in rewards and couldn't extricate himself, in Nami's eyes on the side, Li Xiao has been frozen in place since he landed, not moving at all. I don't know what I'm thinking. After hesitating for a moment, she still reached out and tugged at Li Xiao's arm. Hey, where are you going next? Said the speaker. Li Xiao regained his senses and casually replied. Oh, for now find a place to settle down. Upon hearing this, Namaton paused, continuing to ask. If you don't mind, you can stay at my house temporarily, and I'll repay you for asking the shark pirate's pursuit for me. After spending this day together, Nami also has a preliminary understanding of Li Xiao. In her opinion, Li Xiao should not be a villain. In addition, after all, Li Xiao helped her escape the pursuit of the shark pirate group, and even returned the devil's fruit to her. Therefore, within our capabilities, Nami doesn't mind providing some help to Li Xiao. Chapter 7. Agreement with the Dragon, Chapter 7. Seeking Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Upon hearing Nami's words, Li Xiao was slightly taken aback. After considering for a moment, he agreed. Although he has already completed the check.in for Cachexia village so far, but there is no rush to leave at the moment. Although mountain and sea swordsmanship is directly mastered with the help of the system, the purple gold Linglong Pagoda also does not require self-refining, but the specific usage still needs further understanding and exploration. Instead of searching for a place to settle down on your own, it's better to live directly at Nami's house. It also saves trouble. Subsequently, under the leadership of Nami, the two of them walked into the village of Cachexia, heading straight towards Nami's home. Passing through a small orange grove, a wooden house appeared before my eyes. Not yet close, Nami couldn't wait to shout. Noki is tall. As the words fell, in a few seconds, the door of the wooden house was opened. A woman older than Nami walked out of the house. Blue-purple hair, slightly dark skin, this person is none other than Nami's sister. Nokigo. Seeing Nami's figure, Nochi's face lit up with a smile as she paused, waving his hand at Nami, he said. Ah, Nami is back. Subsequently, she noticed Li Xiao following behind Nami, so he cast a puzzled look at Nami, obviously inquiring about Li Xiao's identity. Nami hugged Nokigo, pointing at Li Xiao, he introduced. This is my new friend. Li Xiao, who is staying here for a while. Upon hearing this, Noki nodded high and smiled, saying. Then come in quickly. Coincidentally, I just finished cooking. Let's eat first. At this point, it's getting close to noon. Although Li Xiao snatched the pirate ship of the shark pirate squad, but unfortunately, there is not much food left on their ship either. It seems that food is already almost depleted. Hurriedly pursuing Nami again, there was no time to supplement at all. So, on the way, the two of them could only get some fish from the sea to eat, reluctantly cushion the stomach. The two of them are already hungry now, so when I entered the door, I began to indulge in cooking. Speaking of which, this is the first serious meal that Li Xiao has had since crossing over. Prior to this, Li Xiao can only hunt and kill wild animals, simply grill and eat. Some shortcomings are that, Nokigao's cooking skills are relatively average, the ingredients are far from abundant, with vegetarian dishes being the majority. Li Xiao couldn't help but think of the restaurant on the sea, thinking about when to go to a sea restaurant, taste the delicious food of the world of pirates. As a gathering place for many excellent chefs in the East China Sea, I'm sure there won't disappoint me there. After meals, before Nokigo can say a few words, Nami hurriedly ran out, say you have an urgent matter to deal with. And Li Xiao didn't stay at home either. He needs to find a suitable place to further understand the newly acquired mountain and sea swordsmanship and the purple-gold Linglong Pagoda. And Nami's home is obviously not a suitable place. With this sword, if you accidentally become too strong, tonight, I, Nami, and Noki, the third year of high school, will use the sky as their bedding and the earth as their seat. Of course, faced with this situation, Nami is unlikely to be upset. She only lies on the ground, calculating how much Pele he could knock, then thank Laozi for sending Thompson. Li Xiao searched for a deserted and remote place along the seaside. Right-hand micro-movement, the Qingxua sword is unsheathed, then he swung a sword towards the sea. Mountain and sea swordsmanship. Meanwhile, in the realm of dragons, in a room filled with nautical charts in the castle, Nami sat opposite the dragon. The evil dragon clasped its hands in front of the monster and laughed loudly. "Oh, my dear navigator, why did you suddenly remember to find me?" Nami glanced at him and asked, "Do you still remember our agreement?" The evil dragon hesitated slightly. Even though Xian had reacted, he replied, "That's nature. Why, you've already gathered 100 million Baileys." Nami took out the demonic fruit from her arms, placed it on the table, slowly speaking. "This is a demonic fruit, although I don't know exactly what fruit it is, but on the black market, even the most ordinary animal demon fruit is priced at over 100 million belly. This devil's fruit is enough for me to buy back the village." Looking at the demonic fruit placed on the table, the evil dragon couldn't help but show a surprised expression. In fact, over the years, how much money does Nami's small vault actually hold? The evil dragon has always had a plan in mind. Once it really reaches 100 million Baileys, he naturally has a way to dispose of this money, so that Nami could continue to stay within his pirate group and draw nautical charts for him. Based on his understanding, although Nami's small treasury is about to accumulate to 100 million Baileys, but it will take some time to fully calculate, so there was no rush to take action. However, what he didn't expect was that Nami didn't know where to get a demonic fruit. Do you also believe the agreement of the pirate in Chapter 8? First. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a moment of silence, the evil dragon picked up the demonic fruit and looked at it while smiling, slowly speaking up. "That's right, the value of this demon fruit is equivalent to 100 million Baileys." Upon hearing this, Nami's lips couldn't help but slightly curl up. However, she hasn't said anything yet. The dragon's next sentence instantly froze her smile. "But our agreement is 100 million belly. It's not a demonic fruit." Nami instinctively retorted. "But the value of this demonic fruit is at least 100 million belly." The evil dragon shook its head and said, "Nami, as I said, our agreement is for you to exchange 100 million Bailey for the freedom of the village and you, not a demonic fruit, which has nothing to do with value. Then you return the devil fruit to me, I'll sell it and bring Bailey to find you." Speaking, Nami reached out to grab the demon fruit from the dragon's hand. However, the dragon's hand, holding the devil's fruit, suddenly shrank back and dodged. He weighed the demon fruit in his hand and laughed at Nami, saying, "Ha ha ha. Give it back to you." "Why should I give it back to you?" "Don't forget, you are a cadre of the Dragon Pirates team. Isn't it appropriate to hand in the spoils of war?" Upon hearing this, Namaton suddenly became angry, with a sudden tap on the table, roaring angrily. "Evil dragon! Don't go too far. Give me back the devil's fruit." As soon as these words are spoken, the dragon's smile suddenly narrowed, my whole face slowly cooled down. He leaned forward slightly, cold channel. "Why, don't you plan to fulfill our agreement? As a punishment for breaking the agreement, the village's protection fee will double this month." Nami's hands clenched into fists. The intensity is so great, even the nails have penetrated into the flesh, my palms are gradually soaked in blood. At this moment, her inner anger was already beyond measure. I wish I could punch the dragon in the face. But she can't do this. Over the years, in order to gather this 100 million Bailey, she put in all her efforts and means. Now I have finally obtained a demon fruit worth 100 million Bailey. I thought I could finally exchange for the freedom of the villagers and the tranquility of Cachexia village, unexpectedly, but in an instant, it becomes empty. This huge psychological gap almost made her despair. Nami really wants to fight against the dragon now, but she knew very well that she couldn't do it. Because the difference in strength is really too big. In front of the dragon, I have no resistance at all. He can easily kill himself, even slaughtering the entire village of Kokoja. Only by continuing to maintain that agreement, there is only a faint hope. At the very least, it can save the lives of the villagers in Cachexia village. Silence lasted for a long time. Nami's tightly held hand slowly loosened. Lowering his head, he slowly said, "Okay. Okay, I got it. I'll go earn another 100 million Bailey." Seeing the situation, the evil dragon couldn't help but burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. At this moment, the wall on one side of the room suddenly broke open. A blue long sword shining with cold light emerged from the smoke and dust, cut straight at the laughing dragon. The dragon's face instantly changed. In a hurry, I only had time to protect my hands in front of me. Next second, the blue long sword was slashed on his arms. The whole person flew backwards in an instant, breaking through the wall and falling directly into the sea behind the castle. How unpleasant is one's own smile, don't you feel a bit pressured? Li Xiao scratched his ear, turning to look at Nami still sitting at the table. She shook her head somewhat helplessly and said, "Do you also believe the pirates' agreement?" At the moment I saw Li Xiao, Nami finally couldn't hold her tension anymore. She bit her lips tightly, allowed tears to flow freely down my cheeks. In fact, at the beginning, when Nami went out, Li Xiao really didn't care. It wasn't until later that I suddenly remembered, she carried the devil's fruit. Most likely it was to go find the dragon and fulfill the agreement. Li Xiao is very clear, this agreement is completely meaningless. The evil dragon would never let Nami free at all. Both sides are likely to erupt into conflict, so he followed up. However, this is only part of the reason. In addition, Li Xiao has other purposes. The strong captain of the shark pirate group before was just too weak. It has no function in judging combat effectiveness at all. And the strength of the evil dragon is undoubtedly much stronger. It should be enough to help oneself preliminarily determine what level of combat power one's current strength is in the world of pirates. And at least the dragon also has a bounty of 20 million Bailey. Slaughter him off and went to the navy to receive the bounty. I will have the meal expenses for working at a restaurant on the sea next. Chapter 9. Turn back and cut back 2 swords from you. Second update. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While Li Xiao was still calculating how long 20 million Bailey would be enough to eat at a restaurant on the sea surface, the dragon's head suddenly crawled out of the water. As a fisherman, the sea is his home ground. Even if being blasted away from the castle by Li Xiao, falling into the seabed, it can still easily float to the surface of the water. However, take a closer look. I saw the sea around the dragon slightly turning red. That is the color of blood mixed with seawater. The dragon raised its hands. Looking down, I saw a deep wound on the outer side of my arm. Blood is constantly oozing out. The dragon looked up at the castle. Through the humanoid opening that I bumped into on the wall, I saw a young man holding a sword. The blue long sword in his hand. He is the mastermind behind the wound on his arm. Stinky kid, you're looking for death. The dragon let out a roar. Immediately exert force under your feet, jump up directly. With the help of several landing points on the outside of the castle, quickly returned to the previous room. However, before he can stand firm, I saw a size 42 soul rapidly magnifying in front of me. Next, with a severe pain emanating from the face, the whole person flew backwards in an instant, once again blasted down from the castle. But this time it didn't fall into the water, but it landed in the square below the castle, stirring up waves of dust. Li Xiao rubbed Nami's hair and whispered, "Stay here and wait for me." After speaking, Li Xiao leaped down with one leap. The path fell straight in front of the dragon. Meanwhile, the dragon has also stood up, surrounded by many crew members of the dragon pirates, all fish people. They held weapons and stared at Li Xiao with a fierce expression on their faces, a look of being ready to rush forward at any time. And at this moment, the dragon, due to being bombarded down by Li Xiao twice in a row, a large amount of dust mixed with seawater stuck to his body. There are still many scratches on the surface of the skin, which looks quite disheveled. But in reality, for the powerful physique of the fish man, apart from the sword wound on the arm, the rest are just skin injuries. It is worth mentioning that, until now, the demonic fruit is still tightly held by the dragon. Even though he was bombed twice by Li Xiao, he didn't throw it away. Obviously, even for dragons, this demon fruit is also quite precious. Li Xiao extended his left hand towards him and said, "Hey, let's discuss it. Why don't you return the devil's fruit to me and I'll cut you 2 fewer swords later." Upon hearing this, the evil dragon, who was already holding back a lot of anger, couldn't hold back any longer, immediately flew into a rage. "I don't even plan to speak harshly anymore." Take out his big saw blade directly, he aimed at Li Xiao with a single slash. Seeing the situation, Li Xiao raised his eyebrows, "Place the Qingxua sword horizontally in front of you, I easily blocked this blow." And the combat experience of the evil dragon is obviously quite rich. Seeing this knife blocked, without hesitation, he raised his foot and blasted towards Li Xiao's side. Li Xiao immediately took a small step back, just dodged this blow. At the same time, slightly apply force to the right hand, push the large saw blade aside. The Qingxuang sword also cut a small wound on the back of the dragon's hand. Although Li Xiao is currently unclear about the specific level of his strength in the world of pirates, but solving just one dragon, it's still easy. Therefore, in order to accurately assess one's own strength, Li Xiao did not give it his all. It can even be said that only a small part of the power was used. Nevertheless, it is also enough to easily deal with the dragon's attack. The evil dragon held a large saw blade and continuously launched an attack on Li Xiao, one knife after another. The momentum is fierce. Li Xiao, on the other hand, saw and dismantled his moves. Every now and then, I have to take a few steps back, seemingly at a disadvantage. In fact, even the corners of the clothes were not torn, the whole person looks calm and composed. Occasionally make a counterattack, make it difficult for the evil dragon to resist, a panic. And those fishmen from the dragon pirates have already dispersed. The battle between Li Xiao and the evil dragon left them completely out of reach and could only be observed from a distance. In a few minutes, Li Xiao roughly judged his own level of strength, almost equivalent to a rear admiral of the Navy headquarters. Although there is still some gap compared to those top executives, but this strength, combined with the defense treasure of the purple gold Linglong Pagoda, it should be enough for self-protection. Especially within the 4 seas, I can almost walk horizontally now. Moreover, I have only been practicing for a month. Even if I have a good idea, I only checked in twice. When it's time to embark on a great journey in a new world, maybe you can already hold on to the general with your hands and step on the 4 emperors with your feet. Of course, as long as you don't take the initiative to cause trouble for yourself, he won't idle around and fight around. After all, cultivating immortality and seeking longevity is where Li's path lies. As long as you don't disturb my cultivation, do whatever you love. Chapter 10. Old Shouxing eats arsenic. Third request. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Speaking of which, since we have roughly determined our own level of strength, Li Xiao had no intention of playing with this ugly thing in front of him again. Your task has been completed, it's time to receive the boxed lunch. Li Xiao's face immediately turned positive. The spiritual power within the body operates. The Qingxua sword emits bursts of blue light, then with a single sword strike. Mountain and sea swordsmanship. This sword, carrying the momentum of breaking mountains and towns. Even though Li Xiao was only slightly more serious, its power is still so powerful that it instantly makes the dragon's face change. Swords and swords meet. The big saw blade in the dragon's hand was instantly chopped to pieces like a withering and decaying blade. This sword landed heavily in front of the fierce dragon, blow it out in an instant. I smashed through several walls before stopping. Lying motionless on the ground, blood flowed out along the ground. Look at that, even if he doesn't die, there's only one breath left. Seeing the situation, the fish men of the dragon pirates watching from around were all shocked. Hurriedly ran towards the dragon's side, check his situation. Under the guidance of the ship doctor, he was busy stopping the bleeding with his hands and feet. And some of the mermaids, wielding swords, were about to charge towards Li Xiao. However, seeing Li Xiao turn his head to look at them, the green frost sword in hand moved slightly, unexpectedly. They stopped their steps again without agreement, quietly turning the direction, following the large army towards the dying dragon. After all, the captain has already received the boxed lunch, just their three-legged kung fu, give it a damn. That's not the old birthday star eating arsenic. He thinks his life is long. So, I saw a dragon lying unconscious on the ground as the center point, surrounded by a circle of mermaids. Everyone's faces were full of concern. Apart from the innermost fish man busy with work, the fish people in the outer circle are just silently paying attention, but turned a blind eye to the culprit not far away. Seeing this, Li Xiao has no intention of continuing to take action. After all, he is not a bloodthirsty person either. Li Xiao walked aside, bending down to pick up the demonic fruit that fell to the ground just now due to the battle. Then he turned his head and walked towards the castle, returned to the room where Nami was located. At this point, Nami is still sitting at the table. Tears have stopped, but her face was already crying. There are some traces of blood on the lips. It seems like she bit it herself. She stared blankly at the table. I don't know what I'm thinking. Li Xiao slowly approached, blowed the dust off the demon fruit, place it in front of Nami. Slow lane. No, I have helped you retrieve your demon fruit. Also, the dragon has been dealt with by me, and you don't need to save up that 1 billion belly anymore. Cocoa Village, free. Upon hearing this, Nami suddenly lifted her head, grasping Li Xiao's hand. Follow-up question. What are you saying? The dragon is dead. That's not necessarily true, but even if you don't die, there won't be much breath left. You can go see it yourself. The dragon has thoughtfully prepared the best viewing spot for you before. Speaking, Li Xiao pointed to the wall on one side. There is a huge hole created by the previous dragon being blasted down twice by itself. As soon as Li Xiao finished speaking, Nami suddenly stood up and rushed to the entrance of the cave. Lower your head and look down. From this perspective, at a glance, I saw the evil dragon surrounded by a group of fish people. At this moment, he lay motionless on the ground, his life and death unknown. Seeing the situation, Nami collapsed on the ground, murmured. Village. Everyone is now free. Speaking, the tears that had just stopped for a while began to flow out again. By the way, we need to quickly tell everyone this news. Nami wiped away her tears. Get up and run towards the stairs. Quickly run downstairs in 3 and 2 steps. Hey, don't you want the devil fruit? However, Nami had no intention of paying attention to him at all. I ran straight down the building towards the direction of Cachexia village. Seeing this, Li Xiao shook his head helplessly. I could only pick up the demon fruit that had just been put down and follow it downstairs. However, Li Xiao did not return to Cachexia village. Although he defeated the dragon and allowed the villagers of Cachexia village to regain their freedom, but fundamentally, the reason why Li Xiao took action is because, still for one's own purposes. He doesn't consider himself a noble savior. There is no need to run and accept the gratitude of the villagers. Moreover, although the dragon has already been solved by itself, but the dragon pirates still need to handle it properly. Every crew member here is a walking Bailey. There's no reason to waste it. After all, cultivating immortals has systematic assistance, but cooking still requires spending money. There are so many delicious foods in the world of pirates, Li Xiao naturally won't miss it. Now save up more food expenses, so as not to cry when the bowl is empty in the future.